There's something interesting in the fumbling attempts to make a fighting game that occurred before Street Fighter II figured out the formula. The idea had obvious appeal from a game design standpoint. Put two people in a room and have them hit each other until one falls down. And there's something inherently cinematic about having a large cast of weird characters, each with their own unique style of martial arts. And throughout the 1980s, there were plenty of attempts that did pretty well for themselves, but nothing that took the world by storm. People played them, sometimes enjoyed them, and then moved on. Fuuun Shorin Ken Ankoku no Maou is another one of those paving stones on the road to Street Fighter II. In fact, I'd say I can see a bit of the original Street Fighter DNA in this one. But as you might be able to tell, since the fighting game genre didn't take off in 1988, it didn't have that magic touch. Ankoku no Maou is a sequel to the original Fuuun Shorin Ken. That game was released almost precisely 1 year before this one. It missed the anniversary by only a few days. So what new features has the new year brought? Well, I think the graphics look a lot better. I also think it controls better. Special moves have been added to the game. Both you and your opponent now have a health bar, which brings this one step closer to a modern fighting game. But there's a lot less of the game here. There's only 5 opponents total, though you do fight 2 of them twice. The plot of the game is that 1 year after Shin defeated the 3 Demon Lords, a new Dark Demon Lord showed up and started brainwashing people and doing evil magic. Naturally, Shin has to go punch him until he stops. The controls while you're fighting might require a little bit of time to get used to. A punches and B kicks. So far, so good. And there's a high, medium, and low version of each of those, depending on if you're pressing up, down, or no direction. Blocking is performed by pushing in a direction, either up, down, or toward the opponent. Blocking only covers one region for attacks, so up would block high attacks, toward your opponent blocks medium attacks, down blocks low attacks. Since there aren't any tells about which direction someone will be attacking, so you can't really effectively block even though you have the ability to. You can press A and B to jump, and if you're holding left and right as you hit A and B, you'll move in those directions as well. However, if you hold down and press A and B, then you'll perform a special attack. Shin has 3 special attacks, and you rotate through which one you'll perform by pressing select. You know which special attack is selected by what color the gem next to your life bar is. Performing a special attack uses up some energy, and this is automatically restored over time. The yellow attack is the Senju Hokkaidan, or the 1,000-hand destruction shot. This uses all of your special attack power to stand in place and punch repeatedly. It is by far the worst option you could do. The red attack is the Tensho Toge Senkyoku, or Divine Spear Kick. With it, you jump up into the air and then do a spiraling kick downward. You can do 2 of these before you run out of power. This will do a lot of damage if it connects, but it is kind of difficult to hit someone with it. Finally, the blue ability is the Hienzan Mayashi, or Flying Swallow Flash Kick. It's just a small little hopping jump kick, and it's completely broken. It does a lot better damage than your regular attacks, has reach, and it uses up so little attack power that you'll really have to spam it to ever run out. Just a 1-second pause between attacks and you can do it forever. And the enemies in Ankoku no Maou are so overwhelming, you probably are going to have to abuse it if you want to get through the game. This is the first fight, against a clone of Shin that was created by the wizard. Yeah, I'm not lasting very long in this. Copy Shin here can take you down in 5 hits. While if you were just using regular attacks, you'd have to hit him 15 to 20 times. And remember that there's no effective blocking in this game. If you don't use the jump kick, which both gives you more room and does extra damage, you're probably going to get your teeth kicked in. Once you learn to use the jump kick to beat an opponent, then you're given a choice of going left or right. There are 6 battles you have to clear before you fight the evil wizard, and this decision occurs after each of them. Which way you go determines who you're fighting. There are 3 opponents that you fight on the road in between the copy and the wizard, and one of them is so overwhelmingly strong that it has a reputation for being effectively impossible. Tairu here has a special attack very similar to yours, where he just unleashes a continuous combo, and if you're next to him when he does that, you're dead. All combat is 1 round, so if you're knocked out, it's game over. And there's only 3 continues in this game. On the other hand, when you continue, you're given the option to choose what path you want again, so you can just pick the other direction and not fight Tairu. Shouho is this tall guy, and he can do a high jumping attack, but that attack is relatively easy to avoid, and then you jump kick him back. Finally, there's Godamon, a Buddhist monk who's mastered illusion magic. He can disappear and reappear. He isn't that powerful, but the way that he keeps running away from you can drag the fight out. There are stage hazards as well, and these actually vary a bit as you play. So just because you had a windstorm when you chose a path one time, doesn't mean you'll have a windstorm next time. Lightning strikes can affect both you and your opponent, while is it snow? It's coming down awfully slow to be anything else. Well, it only hurts you, not them. There's a 2-player mode where you can take on one of your friends, but you both have to play as Shin, and only player 1 can choose special abilities. Maybe the most unusual feature of Ankoku no Maou is something that wasn't advertised and not mentioned on the box. If you hold down A and press start at the title screen, then when you get into a battle, it's in 3D. Okay, you're seeing 2 side-by-side images here. That's because this is designed for the Famicom 3D system. A pair of shutter LCD glasses. There's an LCD in front of each eye, and when the glasses are connected to the Famicom, then the LCD turns off and on 30 times a second. By alternating left and right eyes, you see half of the flickering image, and then your brain puts it together as 3D. In Ankoku no Maou, the 3D effect isn't really anything that special. It just makes the characters pop out a little bit. That's probably why people overlook this one as a 3D game. In Japan, Ankoku no Maou doesn't have much of a following. Pretty much everyone immediately catches on that the only way to advance is by using that jump kick, and the 2-player mode is just too limited to be much fun. It's a shame that Ankoku no Maou has such significant improvements over the original Fuuun Shourin Ken, when it winds up falling so short in other areas. It is interesting that you can feel the evolutionary groping toward what Street Fighter II would be. This is probably closer to it than any other early fighting game I've played, except, well, Street Fighter. It would be very easy to pass this off as one of those pirate carts that came out in the late 90s, and was copying the fighting games of that time period. Even if it winds up being frustrating and not a whole lot of fun, Ankoku no Maou was a really good attempt.